Android Beam. Millions of Android users had this feature on their phones, and most of them don't even remember it existed. If you owned a Galaxy S3, a Nexus 4, or almost any Android phone around 2012, you probably did this without thinking twice. You held your phone against a friend's phone, back to back, and a photo, a contact, or a website jumped instantly from one screen to the other. No internet, no cables, no app. It felt like magic, and for a while, it made Android feel years ahead of everyone else. Then, quietly, without warning, Google let it die. No announcement, no countdown, just gone. Did you ever actually use Android Beam? And what's the oldest Android phone you've ever owned? Because as strange as this disappearance was, it wasn't even close to the decision that upset people the most. Dessert naming. For almost a decade, Android didn't just have version numbers, it had a personality. Cupcake, Froyo, Gingerbread, Kit Kat, Lollipop, Marshmallow. Every update felt like unwrapping something. Fans guessed the next name for months. It gave millions of users a strange, shared identity built entirely around dessert. Then, without much explanation, Google simply stopped. Android 10 replaced Android Pie. Android 11 came next. No name, no character, just a number. The real reason was almost disappointingly simple. Dessert names weren't understood the same way in every country, and Google wanted something cleaner, more global, more corporate. Did Android lose a piece of its identity the day the names disappeared? And which dessert version did you start with? Because losing a name is one thing. What Google removed next was something people actually used every single day. Lockscreen widgets. There was a version of Android where your lock screen wasn't just a lock screen, it was a dashboard. You could swipe sideways and land on a widget, check the weather, skip a song, glance at your calendar, all before you even unlocked your phone. For a while, it felt like your phone was working for you before you asked it to. Then Google pulled it, slowly, one update at a time, until the feature was simply gone, replaced by a locked screen that did far less than before. The official reason was security. The real reason was closer to control. Fewer surprises meant fewer support headaches for Google. Did you ever actually customize your lock screen widgets? Would you want that feature back today? Because the next feature Google removed wasn't just a convenience, it was something that made Android feel smarter than every other phone on the market. Google Now. Years before ChatGPT, years before anyone said the words AI assistant out loud, Android already had one. Google Now would quietly hand you your commute time before you left the house, your flight gate before you asked, a card with exactly what you needed at exactly the right moment without you typing a single word. People called it the smartest thing on their phone. Then Google buried it, folded quietly into a generic assistant, most of what made it special stripped away. The official story was rebranding. The real story is that Google Now was ahead of its time, so far ahead that most users never fully understood what they were losing until it was already gone. Was Google Now smarter than Siri ever was? Should Google bring it back? Because the next feature didn't fail. It was quietly murdered by an update almost nobody saw coming. Face Unlock, old version. Google once promised you could unlock your phone just by looking at it. What they didn't mention was that a photograph could do the exact same thing. Old Face Unlock felt futuristic the moment it launched. Point your phone at your face, and it opened instantly. No fingerprint, no PIN, just recognition. People showed it off like it was science fiction. Then, someone tried it with a printed photo. It worked. The feature that was supposed to protect your phone couldn't tell the difference between you and your own picture. Google pulled it fast and quietly replaced it with something far more secure and far less magical. Did your old Face Unlock ever actually work on you? Would you trust facial recognition on your phone today? Because next, Google removed something almost every traveler relied on, and this time, nobody saw it coming. Nearby Share replaced. Here's a twist. Google didn't actually kill this next feature. They just made you forget its name. Nearby Share let you send a photo, a file, or a link to someone standing right next to you. No internet, No cables, just two phones and a tap. For years, it was one of Android's quiet, dependable powers. Then, almost overnight, the name changed. Quick Share. At CES 2024, Google admitted why. They'd partnered with Samsung to merge their two competing sharing systems into one. Same feature, same function. Just Google borrowing its biggest rival's name for its own invention. So here's the real question. Did Google remove Nearby Share, or did they simply rename their own success? Do you still call it Nearby Share, or has Quick Share already replaced it in your head? Because up next isn't a feature that disappeared, it's a decision that Android users are still arguing about right now. Android Auto for phones. Imagine relying on a feature every single day in your car and then waking up one morning to find it simply gone. Android Auto originally worked two ways. You could plug into your car's screen, or you could use the phone-only version, a simplified driving interface that ran directly on your phone, no car system required. Then Google quietly killed the phone-only version, folding it into a driving mode and eventually removing it altogether. The official reason was consolidation. The real reason was that Google wanted one experience, not two competing versions to maintain. Did you ever actually use the phone-only version of Android Auto? Should Google have kept both versions alive? Because the very last decision in this investigation isn't really about a feature at all. It's about something much bigger. Smart lock changes. This last one isn't really about a feature disappearing. It's about Android quietly deciding how much freedom you're allowed to have. Smart lock once let your phone stay unlocked near trusted places, trusted devices, even trusted faces. All automatically, all without a single pin. Over time, Google tightened it, restricted it, and buried it deeper into settings most people never open. The official reason was security, and to be fair, that part is probably true. But the deeper pattern is impossible to ignore. One by one, the little freedoms that made Android feel personal have quietly been removed. Looking back, none of these features disappeared overnight. One by one, Android slowly became a completely different operating system. Some changes made it better. Others quietly erased the things that made millions of people fall in love with it in the first place. So here's the only question left. Which of these features do you think deserves to come back? And which one do you think Google will kill next?